Why doesn't Ash sell the game? I think the thing here is that the money that anyone would pay for FTP is not worth what it is to him. Now, Ash has jokingly said to us before, "Well, everyone's got a price, right?" And but I think what's important is that whether you say this is a labor of love or whether he likes the idea of, I don't know, like a patent or copyright on his match engine that he made out of his head, like it's something that's his, and it's something that I don't think is of value to anyone else. I think people look at it now and say, "Oh, the game in its current state is worth this," and they can objectively talk membership and money and whatever out of that and try and get a number. But to Ash, he probably sees it as, "Yeah, but I have this thing, which is the match engine. I have this site that runs it, which is the thing," and he might be able to see more potential in that, or maybe he just thinks it's his and he doesn't want to share that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's like having an invention. Not everyone wants to make money. Not everyone wants to be super rich. People just want to share it, and maybe he hasn't got time to share it now. But I just don't think what people can offer to get him to give that up is enough. This is a big feature and a big point and one of the major stopping points. And to explain sort of the roadblocks and challenges here probably takes time, and I'm trying to be really quick. So let me cut this down to 3 points. The first point is that Ash can't walk away and say, "You develop." Even if he's not reviewing, say, conceptual changes to design, like, say, splitting tech into batting and bowling, even if he's not approving that, he's still going to need to be involved in, as soon as something comes up that we don't understand, we're going to have to go back to him. He's going to have to explain it. As soon as something else comes up, go back to him. And that communication time and the training time and the teaching time, he could probably spend that time developing. And so then what's the point in handing it over if he's got the time to develop? And that's not a definite stopping point. It's just an example of we got to overcome that challenge somehow. The second point is that there's layers to get involved in. These things run off databases, there's server-side stuff, there's the querying that gels it together. I mean, the super users for the forums, communication. Like, for other people to take over, you need to understand all these layers, and you need to have people who can work on these layers and make sure they cover all the layers. And do you have people testing? Do you have other stuff? And we don't know that yet. I'm still learning everything that's involved, and you kind of need like a group of people who are all involved and someone who can teach everyone all the layers and the levels so that they know what their piece of the puzzle is or how many layers they touch on. It's kind of a big challenge. The third point is someone needs to run point, and you would need to have someone do it. And like, can it be me? Well, I don't know. Like, I don't have the technical know-how. Could it be Crowfan? He does. Yes, maybe. Could we go and call like DZ from wherever he is? Well, yes, but then that's time and effort that's going into this. So what encouragement do they have, or we have, or anyone else have of doing it? And that's the challenge. Is like, then you've got to basically give them full autonomy, or do you? Or then you're giving someone the lead. Well, what happened to the collective sort of mentality? And that's just another little challenge of like, how do you manage this whole process? And so you can see this sort of roadblocks. Nothing that totally stops development, but these are all things you have to work through before you can really have a plan going forward, because they're fundamental ideas or concepts that need like answers before you can develop the game. And that's something that's an ongoing discussion right now, and I can't promise that it's leading anywhere. It's just ideas are being thrown at the wall, and we'll see sort of where we come out after that's all resolved. I wanted to end on a kind of positive note. I call it the flow-on effect, because the way I see it is the game's like got the least number of users it's had for a long time, and people probably think, well, if we're just looking at fixing things like the PC and that, well, that won't really encourage new users. And I think what I want to say is that there's a flow-on effect to improving the development side of the game. We start fixing things, we start adding new features, we start bulking up the membership package. Well, I think the flow-on effect of that is like we start advertising, social media gets involved. We're a pretty simple game with access from PC or tablet or phone, which takes up like 10 minutes a day at best. Maybe 10 minutes a couple times a week if you don't really want to, or hours if you want to get really into it. And so I think we've got a really good product as a game to market to a modern audience. And I think if we start proactively working on the game, I think the flow-on effect of all the things we can do around that to hype the game and to advertise and to market, I think it can get to a point where FTP has more users than it ever has. It's not quick, it's not easy, but I think the market's there, and I think we could if we go about it. So for all the people who are like, oh, it'll never get any better, I think it still can, is my point here. It wouldn't feel right without an outro, so I hope you've learnt something here or there. I think this might be 2 videos, and I might do editing magic and blah 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 because I talked too much and it was going to take too long, and I wanted to cut this really short, but it didn't end up happening. Look, I'll throw this up somewhere in the forum, share it around, I don't care, whatever. You know, hold me to it. Maybe Ash will fire me for sharing some of this, who knows. Dear. Anyway, thanks for your time. If you've listened to it all, cheers. And yeah, feel free to ask any questions. Alright, adios.